Welcome everyone. I sincerely appreciate you taking the time to watch this video, whether it's live or archived. And always feel free to leave comments in the chat room. We started just a tad late today. We have some issues from Hurricane Ida in the Northeast. And I live within 300 yards of a major river. And it hasn't crested and come over its banks for a while. But I just saw somebody pull in here, and this could be like the FEMA people telling me that I have to leave. I gotta see who this is first. But anyway, while I do that, I'm gonna keep talking. No, we're okay. It was there. It was. It was just a couple police cars doing, I guess, a survey. They didn't stop to announce anything. So it's going to be pretty close. I guess you can tell I'm a little different than I normally am, my jovial mode for a 4 o'clock show. But I felt we had time to do this. There's no immediate, danger. It's not like the water is right outside my home and I'm doing a show. And if I showed you the river right now, you would say that it's probably not going to flood, John. But I can tell you that it rises very rapidly. It depends on how much rain falls north of us. Because all those rivers, no matter how big or small, flow into the main one. And there you go. So, we all go through this crap. At the end of the day, it's not going to be... certainly not going to be anything remotely close to what the horrific scene down there in New Orleans was, by comparison. But
I've never told you this, John, but I was in Phuket for the 2004 tsunami, about 100 meters from the beach.
oh my God.
Yeah,
Really?
yeah.
Well, that had to be unbelievable.
I woke up and everybody was screaming, and I couldn't believe it. And we got quite lucky, but we managed to get up a hill and avoid any catastrophe. But there was lots of catastrophe around us when we end up coming down from the
Wow.
hills and seeing all the damage.
That had to be horrifying. Man alive. Thank God you woke up when you did.
Yeah, I guess the area I was in was less dangerous than some of the. It was more of a steep incline up the beach, whereas the big flat beaches where they there's
Yeah.
low ground. Those places just got annihilated.
Wow. That's like I said, that's terrifying and horrifying.
Hmm.
Yeah, alive. So anyway, we're gonna do an abbreviated show here today. I'm hoping that Tony Finn can pop in just for a second or two. Uh, I had a good night last night. Swept the board, ended one of the best Augusts I think I've had in probably the last 5 years, and I think as you probably saw in the leaderboard thing, was number one in the preseason football, and now that follows up last year's number one ranking at 65.8% against the spread. So what I'm trying to say, Jesse, is Sportsman was doing a real nice special for me, and I'm just going to scroll it across the bottom and let that do the talking, which is a lot better than mine. But I am getting better at it. I'm getting better at it. I convinced myself that, like in sports, I got used to the fact that if you broke a record or did something good, that was not bragging if you were sharing it with somebody because it was factual. You know? So then that was okay. Let's see here. Where is this little banner? Here we go. Yep, there it is. You get the whole NFL season for just $3.99, and then they throw in college football for free yet. So anyway, how's things going, Jesse? You're on the complete opposite end of the earth, practically.
Yeah, we got the opposite problem here. Drought, drought is the issue over here, and it's not as hot as it was. The heat wave's gone, but it's really dry, and there's forest fire concerns, air quality concerns, but it's not too bad.
Well, that's good to hear. We wish that we could. I've never had a green lawn in August. Sometimes it goes. We lose the lawn in July when we get that first run of 100-degree heat. But it looks like it's the middle of April right now. You know, nice and green, and it grows a ton in a week. I've just never seen it like this. So I guess must be the reverse polarity of the axes of the Earth or something. It's weird weather. Anyway, I wanted to talk a little bit about the PGA Tour, and I've mentioned in my Wall Street career, which was better part of 2 decades, I used a lot of different tools. One of which was implied volatility, which is used in option evaluation for calls and puts. And basically, high-level overview, it tells you how much an option will change in price based on the change of the underlying security. So if we're looking at the underlying security as Apple Computer, and that stock's trading at $250 a share, and we're bullish and we think it's going to go higher, and we're looking at the $280 calls, the volatility of Apple day to day will be reflected in the increase or decrease in the value of the option. So I did that for the NBA, especially with totals, and it worked pretty darn well. Where I could identify games that were going to be streaky. A lot of 10-point runs, that kind of stuff, to play overs and unders and middles in-game. And it worked satisfactory profits for sure. Beginning to think that in the NBA, there is more reason not to even bet the game pre-flop and wait for the game to start. But then you have to be focused on that game. You know, it's pretty much impossible to be watching 10 games and at the same time and be able to follow these runs and the other factors involved. But in the PGA Tour, we have the final. This is the last event for the PGA Tour 2021, and what a year it was. So this is the third leg of the FedEx Cup, which the winner will get $20 million, Jesse. $20 million. But yeah, I wouldn't want to do that because then you end up paying all the taxes. You know,
Well,
probably
if you
red flag for an audit.
don't want, you can send it this way.
I'll buy water with it. That's what I'll do, and I'll send the water out there. But seriously, it is really a great event. And if there is a sport where I should not be teasing about the players making the money and earning the money, because in golf, that's the only professional sport, along with tennis, that if you're injured, you don't get paid. There's no contracts. There might be endorsement contracts, but not in comparison to what other sports have. You know, there's guaranteed money no matter what happens to you. Golf, you show up, and not only do you show up, but you have to make the cut to get paid. You don't play well enough, you get zipped. So it's, I guess that's one of the sports of the last frontier where you play to win. And this is one of them. So we're down to 30 golfers, Jesse. And in this volatility tool I just want to pull up the players that are in this. And I had the pleasure of having David Berman on today. And I can share with you some of his thoughts as well. Let's see here. There we go. So in this event, it's staggered. So Patrick Cantlay is the points leader for the whole entire season going into this event. He starts the tournament of 4 days, 18 holes each day, at 10 under par, and he hasn't even hit a shot. Tony Finau is in second. He's at -8 and hasn't hit a shot. DeChambeau, -7. John Rahm, 6. Cameron Smith, 5. So on and so forth till we get to the 30th player, which is Patrick Reed, and he and 4 other guys sit at even. So for the guys that are even par, it's near probability of 0 that they're going to be able to play that well to win the event and win the points. So what I did was I figured in DraftKings lineups, and also what David's players, the ones that he liked, correlated perfectly with this analysis, is I used the implied volatility to identify those golfers that, should they get hot in this event, will stay hot for all 4 and play way above anyone's expectations and get into the top 5. So with only 30 players, it makes no sense to play a top 10 because there is no value with it. So you're going to play top 5s. And guys that were on that list, Brooks Koepka is the most volatile player in the event, and he sits in tied for 16th at 2 under par. So that's a guy you definitely want to consider for your DraftKings lineup. And he's either going to play really well or he's going to play at average. But the tendency now would be that he will finish higher in the standings than T16, which means he'll score more points for your DraftKings lineup than the other ones, relatively speaking. The guy that there's two guys that he likes really a lot, and I like it too. Rory McIlroy kind of owns this golf course. He really hasn't played badly in this event at this course in East Lake Country Club, which is in Atlanta, Georgia. Tiger Woods in 1998 played the first Tour Championship that was held here, and it was the first Tour Championship in the history of the event. He came in tied for 20th. Hal Sutton won the event. There was 4 times after that Tiger was either tied for the lead after 54 holes or had the lead after 54 holes and did not close the deal. It took until 2007 when FedEx became partners with Eastlake and ponied up an extra $10 million in prize money at that time, that Tiger finally came through and actually won the event. So the point is not that he played because it was $10 million more. He had the experience of the golf course. And this course, like the Masters, there's no one-time, first time I'm on the course I'm going to win. There, and it is the same here. But Rory has a ton of experience here. Xander Schauffele, not quite as much, but he is experienced. And those two, tied for 16th at -2, are top 5 bets and getting anywhere from plus like 350 for McIlroy and plus 400 for Xander Schauffele. Another name on the list here is Sam Burns is one that I like. He's T6 -4, so he's 6 shots back, and he's second highest on the volatility list. So again, he's one that I think if he starts out well, and I wouldn't be surprised to see him in the top 4 at the start of Sunday. Other ones, Jordan Spieth has had an erratic year. Right now, he's playing the best golf he's played in years. But the guy that really stands out here, and there's no debating it, is Jon Rahm. He's 4 shots behind at 6 under, starting the event, to Patrick Cantlay. And he is right now the best golfer on the planet by leaps and bounds. There's no denying that. What we saw with Patrick Cantlay and Bryson DeChambeau in that 6-hole playoff was nothing short of brilliant, and was the best live golf I've ever seen in my life, because I wasn't old enough to watch Tom Watson and Jack Nicklaus in the battle. I think they nicknamed it the Battle in the Sun, which was the British Open Championship in what was that? I know they both shot 65, so it couldn't have been 1965, but they both shot 65s. And I think there was one other person in the entire event that broke 70 on that Sunday afternoon. And that was at St. Andrews. So other than that, if you haven't seen it, watch those 6 holes. And I'm telling you, Patrick Cantlay was draining putts like you can't believe. In fact, he set the tour record for most shots gained putting in any one round in the history of the sport. And he gained 14.5 shots from his just unbelievably great putting. Anything 20 feet and in, you could tell by his body language, he had all the confidence in the world, all the focus in the world, and it was going to go in. So despite the fact that DeChambeau was hitting the ball anywhere from 40 to 60 yards further than Patrick was, it just showed you how the game can be played so differently and get the same result, and sometimes get even a better result. And the same with handicapping. Some of us are fundamentals only. Some of us are fundamentals and technical, kind of like I am. And others just play the numbers. And you know what? There is no one way or set way to do this. It's not like going to school to be a heart surgeon and you're learning step by step the process of a surgeon doing heart surgery or open heart surgery that every other heart surgeon does as well. Or a mechanic on your car. They do the same tasks over and over again. It's different with this kind of stuff. So at the end of the day, Jon Rahm is the guy who both David and I agree will hoist the trophy and try to spend that $20 million on something. And that's my little spiel of that.
You forgot to mention that just like golf, you also don't get paid in handicapping unless you win.
This is true. This is true. This is very true. In fact, you lose.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you go to the window with a $500 bet and you're confident about it, and all of a sudden it loses. You don't go back to the window and say, "Boy, I'm really sorry I bet that. Could I have half of it back?"
There seems to be a bit of a myth on Twitter with some guys that think that because some websites have non-guaranteed picks that there's money to be made as a handicapper if you don't win. But what they fail to realize is people don't buy picks off of handicappers that don't win.
That's true. That is true. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it, and that's it's kind of one of the main of many reasons I like being on Sports Memo and associated with Wager Talk, and it's all good.
Times have changed. It's not the 1980s anymore.
It's good that I'm still with you because we just had a little.
I can see your mic is shaking.
A little surge, yeah. Not an earthquake or anything. It's just that my printer restarted and the lights almost went out. But I'm still here, so I mean, here like not. You know what I mean. I'm still on the show. If the internet would have gone out, obviously I wouldn't be on the show. And even Tony Finn knows that much. I wonder where that guy is.
Joining us today?
He was going to try to. He's between either, I think it's a TV show and a radio show or something like, it's just appearances.
How's our record doing for the free picks we've been giving out on the show? Is it as hot as it was last week when I was here?
60. I think we're a percentage lower, 64.3, and that's in the YouTube description area, which I don't have in front of me. I forget exactly what the number is. Like 41 and 24, somewhere along that line is what it should say. So I think my free pick for the show, like I did last week, is going to be. Let me just pull up the odds here real quick, and then I'll turn it over to you instead of me talking the whole time. I'll use DraftKings for this. But by all means, shop around. Which book do you use?
I like Bet365.
Yeah, that is also a good one. All right, so we have golf. Sounds like a tugboat.
Yeah, I'm right in the harbor here.
Oh, that's cool. That's exactly what that was then. Neat. So John Rahm right now is plus 330. So I said earlier that he's the guy that's going to hoist the trophy. I think what you should do is he's going to be the last guy teeing off. And his, he'll be the second last to tee off. So both he and Cantley to play this both top 5, and I'm going to stay away from the top 10 because that's nonsense. They should both be in the top 10 automatically. So the odds are just too great to even consider that. So we want to wait at some point where we're going to get some really good value. You may remember in the PGA event, Rahm started out as the 7-1 favorite. He was 2 over through 7 holes of a 72-hole event, and I got him at 35-1, and he came in second. Didn't win, but that's, I think, how you play this event as well. So Rahm right now to win is plus 330. There's no value in that. But if you see it at plus, let's say, 500 or more, which I think you will, because somebody that's in front of them is going to have a good start. These are the top 30 golfers in the world. And there's no duds in here. And one of them is going to catch fire early, and that line is going to change just enough so that you'll be able to see plus 500, maybe 600 even. But for the purpose of the show, We'll do John Rahm to win plus 500. And then we'll do top 5 at minus 115 or better. And then Patrick Cantlay, we'll look to get him at plus 600 or better. And also we'll look to get him at Pick'em on the top 5. And that's it. I will release matchups tomorrow morning before this event starts. But I think the first tee time is around, I don't even think it's 10 a.m. It's not, it starts late in the morning. 11:50 a.m. Sergio Garcia tees off. So he's probably in the first or second group off the tee. He's in the first, he'll be one of the first groups off the tee. So 11:50 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'll have the matchups out tomorrow morning. As long as I have internet. I have a generator, I'll have electric and air conditioning, but I may not have the internet. So you want to add a free pick here, Jesse, and we'll call it a day.
Sounds good. Last week, I think I gave out a run line dog that won outright, and I'm going to look for a similar play here tonight. It looks like it could be the day that the LA Dodgers take over first place in the NL West. I think they're a half a game back. They got Scherzer going. They're a huge favorite today. Not going to pick the Dodgers, though. I'm looking over at the Giants, and they're playing Milwaukee, and they've lost the first 2 games of this home series versus Milwaukee. All of a sudden, the Giants have COVID problems. They've had a couple pitchers go out with COVID. They've got a few guys testing positive recently. And tonight they have Kevin Gausman going. Gausman's had a pretty good season, but if you look at his recent performances, they tend to be a little shorter and not quite as efficient. And he's playing a hot Milwaukee team that's really got his number right now. So they got Brett Anderson going for the Brewers. Not a lot positive to say about Anderson's numbers on the season. One positive for Anderson, though, is he faced San Francisco once this year, gave up 1 run in 5 innings. So this isn't really a play on Anderson, but a play against San Francisco. Taking the Brewers plus 1.5, minus 140.
I like that a lot. Just writing this down here. Brewers. What was it again? Minus 1 or plus 1.5?
Plus 1.5, minus 140.
Yep. And I have Cantlay at plus 6 or better. Even money, top 10 or top 5, I mean. And then Rahm at plus 5 or better. And minus 115 for top 5. Because we all know I don't ever pay minus 120 for a prop bet. And if it doesn't get to minus 115, then so be it. But you got to let volatility be your friend. And we'll see how those... speaking of the DraftKings lineups, I will post them here again, if I have internet tomorrow due to the storm, I will post them right here in the comments section so everybody can see what they are. The player pool, I think I can show that real quick too. That way they can just, if watch on archive, they can pause it. So I think this is it. Yeah, this is it. Yep. So let me get rid of the comment here by our good friend and pal, Mr. McGinnis. So the one golfer that will be in at least 4 of my 5 lineups, which it says there, is Billy Horschel. Again, a guy that is way down the list, has no chance to win, no chance to even win the tournament aside of the points. Just the outright winner would be a reach. But in terms of rounding out your DraftKings lineup, he's a guy that I think you should have in there. You can see Rahm there is second. Stuart Sink, the old-timer, has been the most consistent, the least volatile player, the most reliable, the most the best player to count on in a DraftKings lineup. DeChambeau, actually, I wouldn't be surprised if he finishes out of the top 5. And David Behrman, to recap that, is betting that happens. I forget what the odds are off the top of my head, but you can watch that show. That's easy to find. Let's see. Daniel Berger's been very consistent all year. Dustin Johnson's one of the more volatile players. But if you take these names and optimize them for the 50,000, I'm sure there's 6 names in here that are going to do well and cash. So now it becomes a little bit of research on, I guess, the viewer's part who wants to use this list. And, it's kind of, you can't play every single possibility of 6 guys of these 16 names. There's too many lineups. But I do think that there's a lineup in here or two that is going to do extraordinarily well. And it's just a matter of digging and finding which ones they're going to be. So that is about it. Well, I guess I'm going to conclude the show. Jesse, you have anything you want to promote over at Sports Memo?
I do have my college football game of the year going on Saturday, and
that's awesome.
You're going to want to miss that.
Absolutely. So that would be sm.buzz. sm.buzz, and what's your is it JS?
I guess it must be.
That's before we say it. That's just test it out. sm.buzz/JS.
Does that work?
That pulled up Dr. Chuck. So let me see where. Well, you just go to sportsmemo.com and hit on the experts tab, and it will get you to the right place where you can easily find him. Let me just try it one more time here. Well, sportsmemo.com/profile, singular, /Jesse-Scholl. So that is it. sportsmemo.com/profile /Jesse, Jesse-Scholl, SCHULE, for those that are listening on Apple Podcasts and can't see what is being scrolled. And with that said, I guess I should say that for $399, that's $400 off the regular price for the NFL regular season. You get the regular season through the Super Bowl, and Sports Memo is going to throw in the college football season of mine for free. It's by far the best deal I've had to date, and I appreciate everyone that has come on board. It's been grateful and surprising how many people have joined now. So it's now up to me to deliver the goods and keep that winning ways going in the right direction. 65.8% last year, and that ranks number 1 at Sports Memo. Jesse, nothing personal, but I hope you come in second this year.
Well, thank you very much.
That could be the most arrogant thing I've said in my life, whether on a show or not. But you know where I'm coming from because we're good friends, and I can get away with it.
Well, in a large pool of talent, I guess there's nothing wrong with coming in second. First is always the goal, but it's
very true.
There's going to be 30 other guys that wish they were second, I guess.
Yeah, I always remember what was that movie, Talladega Nights, where the father says at the beginning of the movie to I'm terrible with actors' names, but he says, "Son, you ain't first, you're last." I don't know. I guess there's something to say about that. But you ever see that movie?
Oh yeah, that was Ricky Bobby, I guess. That was
Ricky Bobby and Shake and Bake. Yeah. And then that I forget what his name is. The father. Then near the end of the show, when Ricky Bobby's down in the dumps, he says, "Dad, you said that if I wasn't first, I was last." And he looks at him and like, "What?" He doesn't remember saying. He says, "Oh, at school thing? Oh, come on! I was high when I said that."
You got to be careful what you tell your kids, man.
So, isn't that the truth? Yeah. Absolutely. But anyway, thanks for your time, Jesse. Tomorrow, Thursday, we'll look to bounce back here. Of course, on my end, weather permitting, but I'm optimistic here, reasonably so, not being naive. But I think we'll get through this just fine. Just hope everybody else does too. So, on behalf of Jesse Schull, myself, the Predictive Playbook, WagerTalk.com, SportsMember.com, may all the wins be yours tonight. And thanks for listening.